Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Friday, August the 1st. It's amazing how quickly the year is going by, isn't it? So anyways, happy new month. Or as my parents used to say to me when I was a little guy, rabbits. I don't know if that's a term that's still used in the UK to welcome in a new month. Obviously rabbits were thought to be lucky, I assume. But if it is indeed a term that's still used in Great Britain, to those who are subscribers from that fair island, rabbits. Right, to boxing. Somebody asked me the other day what I thought Moses Itauma might do if he gets through Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. Moses and Dillian Whyte are, of course, scheduled for I think it's a 10-rounder. I'm not quite sure, actually. I'll have to look that up. But anyways, they're due to meet in Riyadh 2 weeks tomorrow, August the 16th. Apparently, this extravaganza is available to buy on DAZN. I don't know how much it is here in Canada. I saw a price in the US of, I think it was basically $20 US, so probably be $40 or something in Canada. It's a card that I again, struggle to cough up the coin for, to be perfectly honest. I'll be quite frank with you. I'm not actually sure that Moses Itauma is pay-per-view worthy. Nick Ball's on the card. Philip Hergovich is on the card. David Adelaide. I don't know. It seems pretty thin gruel to me. But then again, I'm not especially flush with cash. Maybe if I was, it would be like, well, of course. But I don't know. Or maybe I'm simply being spoiled by some of the excellent cards that have been put on in Riyadh. But I feel a little bit parsimonious, as they say. I'm not quite so sure if I'm going to cough up the valuka to make it worth my while. Anyhow, no one needs to know any more about my financial impecuniosity in these matters. What I'd like to talk about is what does the future hold for Moses Itauma? Now, of course, this is a tricky exercise because he has not gotten through Dillian Whyte. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I'm very hopeful that Dillian Whyte will provide Moses Itauma with a real test. I'd like it to go into 6, 7, 8 rounds or more. And ideally, I'd like to see Moses' whiskers checked by Dillian to see what they're like. To see Moses get through, if not stormy waters, at least choppy waters. But I have a feeling in my tummy that the matchmaking has been very well done, and that as fit and lean and confident sounding as Dillian Whyte is, he might not be the right test for Moses. Which raises the question, do the promoters and others associated with Moses' career want him to be really tested? We look at some other hyped up fighters, and you can decide who you want to, think about. I have my own thoughts. And then you look at, their resumes. Who did they fight? What names, legitimate names, did they fight? And I have a funny feeling that Moses is being very carefully managed. He's already the WBO #1 contender, which is, quite frankly, I think it's kind of nuts that such an inexperienced prospect can be the #1 contender. But it is what it is. If he gets through Dillian Whyte, what are the odds, do you think, that Frank Warren will try and match him with the WBO interim champion, Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker has not fought a meaningful round for a long time. His last fight was Martin Bakole, who kind of stepped away from the buffet table, flew across an entire continent, stepped into the ring, jet-lagged, depleted, and grotesquely out of shape, and was dropped in one round by Joseph Parker. Prior to that, Joseph Parker, was last out, like a year prior. So Joseph Parker champing at the bit for a shot at Alexander Usyk, which is totally deserved in my book. And that's the fight that I want to see Usyk have next. But I think that Usyk, for reasons which I'm not really sure, might choose to fight Tyson Fury for a trilogy fight. I mean, I suspect it's money, though it sort of pains me to think of Usyk in that way. But I guess he's maybe no different to anybody else. If that's the case, and Usyk and Fury are looking for a trilogy, do you think that Frank Warren may take the, dusty, on the shelf, not having had any run out or anything, Joseph Parker, and put Moses Itauma in with Joseph Parker to get Moses Itauma a world title? I don't know. What do you think? I would imagine that Joseph Parker would be able to handle Moses, but as we know, inactivity is a terrible thing for a boxer. And then, of course, if Moses was to get himself a version of the title, do you think he would be protected, wrapped in bubble wrap? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too skeptical or cynical. Maybe they want Moses to clean out the division. If so, they've started really quite low down in the division. And Dillian Whyte, whilst being a name, is, I think we can all agree, well past his sell-by date. 37 years old and not got a lot of activity or quality opponents recently, right? So I'm cynical, I'm skeptical, I'm suspicious. I'm thinking that Moses Itauma, if he does get through Dillian Whyte, which the bookies seem to think is almost a done deal, you think he's going to be paired with Joseph Parker? Joseph Parker, in my view, is not the favoured child of Queensberry. If he was, I think there would be a much, much more pressure applied to make that Usyk fight. But it seems to me that of all Darth Warren's children, people like Tyson Fury are the golden-haired, and people like Joseph Parker is like the red-haired stepchild. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Moses Itauma take on Joseph Parker for a vacant WBO. Because, of course, if Usyk fights Fury, then he'll have to surrender the WBO. It'll become a vacant belt. And now we're delving into really sort of, suspicious territory. Would that belt, whether or not Moses wins it or Joseph Parker wins it, would that be sort of almost held in reserve for Tyson Fury to have another belt? I don't know. What I do know is that things are invariably obfuscated and opaque. There's a lot of lack of transparency around these things. And what I also know is that someone like Moses is going to be kept away from real live dogs until there's at least the sniff of a belt in the air. That's my view. Let me know yours. Look forward to hearing, or reading rather, in the comments section. Please like if you can. Please share if you'd like. Please subscribe if you have not. Most importantly, have a fabulous day wherever in the world you are. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.